Chris Hansen's Afterlife, posted by Jizdish. My Ford pickup rolls into the driveway and I take a deep breath as I prepare to get out and approach the house. I told myself I wouldn't do this again, and yet here I am, about to meet another girl from the internet. I take out a small vial of powder from my breast pocket and sharply inhale, as I put it to my nose before picking up the pizza and six-pack of beer from the passenger seat. Showtime, I think to myself, all semblance of doubt fading from my mind as the coke takes effect. I slammed the truck door behind me and sauntered up to the front porch. It was a typical-looking suburban home, just like the last one. The only car in the driveway was mine, which was a great sign. It meant her parents weren't home. I ring the doorbell, and in seconds the door is flung open by a young blonde girl with pigtails. She looks excited and she ushers me into the kitchen, taking the pizza and placing it on the counter. Stephanie, I assume? She giggles and we have some general small talk about her school, where I'm from, and the pizza I brought when all of a sudden a man walks in and sits down at the table in front of me. Silence fills the room. "Who are you?" I was taken aback. "How about you tell me first?" The man seemed confident, and he looks like he won't be easily tricked. I'm assuming he's her dad or something. "Listen, man, I just came out to hang out and stuff. I'll leave if that's what you want." I'm stuttering a little bit, a ghost from my childhood. I'd always break into a stutter when my parents would confront me for misbehaving. Usually the beatings knocked it out of me. "Oh, you've got that all wrong, buddy. I don't want you to leave." "Well, I think I might just be going anyway. I'm not feeling too great." The man smiles, and he and the girl I came to meet stare at me as I back out of the room and run for the front door. I grab the handle and burst through it, and... what the fuck? Instead of being on the front lawn where I should have been, I was standing at the back door facing into the kitchen, met by the constant eye contact of the tall man and his accomplice. I spin around and grab the back door handle, panicking. It's locked. I step back and drive my foot into the frame 3 times before it finally gives way and I rush towards freedom, only to find myself standing at the front door, face to face with my captors. What is this? What's going on?" I choked out, feeling the weight of the world is on my chest. "This is what you wanted, is it not? Why would you want to leave?" I don't like the way they're looking at me. They were watching my every move intently, but something about them seemed vacant, like there was no life in their eyes. I pulled out the buck knife I had in my pocket and I pointed it at the man, demanded to be let go. He laughs in a strange monotone, seemingly amused. His eyes rolled back into his skull and they turned black, as does the girl's. "There's no salvation," they chawed in unison. They advanced on me despite my rapid knife thrusts into their chest and necks. They keep coming, black ooze frothing from the wounds. Just as their hands touched my head, I closed my eyes, shut them tight, and then silence. I glanced around the room, terrified, but my attackers were gone. I never saw them again, and I never left this house. They won't let me. It's like their presence is still here. I feel them watching constantly, from around corners or peeking through doorways. Every time I turn to meet their gaze, I'm met with nothing. I don't know how long ago it was that I first stepped foot into this damn place. A lifetime, maybe? All I know is I can't leave and I can't die. I just hope they take pity on me one day. They have no idea how sorry I am. The strangest phone call I ever received, posted by Croatoan 178. This happened to me about a month ago, and it still baffles me. I don't know what to call it. Paranormal? A glitch in the Matrix? Nevertheless, this story is completely true and gives me chills. Now, before I begin, some background info. I am 20 and I have a best friend of the same age. We've always lived at least a couple states away from each other, but despite that, basically have grown up together. We are technically cousins and she was raised by my grandparents, so we saw them every other Thanksgiving and Christmas, took vacations together, etc. As we have gotten older, we communicate a lot through the internet. Snapchat has been our main choice to connect for a while now. Now, a couple of points. She previously had a crappy cheap smartphone. I have had her old number from that device saved in my own since she bought it. But since we use Snapchat and Instagram for everything, I never bothered to update it. This information I was not aware of when this initially happened. Allow me to reiterate, we never used our cells to communicate. We don't even text. It's just always through social media messaging. I was driving home from work one day and my phone sits in this little contraption on my dash so that my music choices are convenient. I guess my driving mode hadn't activated because the screen lit up with a phone call, my best friend's name on the screen. I was indeed surprised. As I stated before, we never used our cells to call. If she calls me, it's always through Snapchat. I also hadn't spoken to her in a couple of days, so I was wondering why she was calling me out of the blue, without even a text to make sure I wasn't busy at work. I answered. It was still connected to my car's Bluetooth so I could hear everything quite loud. It was that weird static sound you hear when the person you are talking to is driving, but in the background there were constant rhythmic choppy sounds, and a few mumbling voices. I said, "Hello?" again and again. No answer. "Did you butt dial me?" Still nothing. The fact that I couldn't recognize any of the voices to be her or of her family members, not to mention the creepy rhythmic knocking, freaked me out, so I hung up. At this point, I was nearly home. As soon as I parked, I opened Snapchat and messaged her asking her if she'd just try to call me with her cell. She told me no, and I had a sudden thought. I asked her what her current number was and compared it to the one I had saved in my phone. Surprise, surprise, they were different. I asked her what had happened to her old phone, and was it possible someone was using it. She told me it had been dead or broken for months and was sitting in a drawer in her mother's bedroom. No chance of anyone getting it to work again. She was also freaked out by what I told her and couldn't give me an explanation. Now, here's the part where I ask all of you. Is it possible for someone's old number, once it's been passed to someone else, to be able to reach and even make phone calls to the previous owner's contacts? Assuming the old number did indeed disconnect and get passed on to a new owner. Thank you for listening to these two talented authors from r/scary stories. Remember, when staring into the abyss is also staring into you. Until next time, good night.